We're glad you joined us today. We know the road may feel isolating, but we are here to go along this journey with you and love the call to action. Ruck Buttercup is a podcast hosted by Deployed Love. We're going to join together and chat about all things military life. So you know the drill. Ruck Buttercup. Hello, everybody. I am so glad that you are joining us for the podcast. This is our first episode, and we are all super excited to be putting this together with Deployed Love. So I just want to kind of go ahead and introduce all your co-hosts. I'm going to introduce myself, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But I'm Sabrina. I am the executive director of Deployed Love, but I'm also a mom, a wife, and veteran wife. So my husband was in the military for 8 years. And we still play games with the Army. So we are around, and I have 2 kids, 2 dogs, 1 chicken, and I homeschool my kids from home. So just kind of living the life, I guess.
I'm Kim. I am the president of the board. My husband is in the Army. We're getting very close to retirement, so that's fun and exciting and a whole new experience. I have 4 kids and a beautiful stepdaughter that is making her own life now. We have quite a few animals around here. We're hoping to have a farm with eventually. That's about it for me.
I'm Sierra. I'm the secretary of the board. My husband and I are here at our first duty station. We're getting ready to PCS to our second. He's Army, so we're really excited for that. It's just us 2. We have 2 fur babies, 1 dog, 1 cat, and I have a couple of fish. But that's about it for me.
And I am Ashley. I'm the board treasurer. I am here with my husband, who is active duty Army. I have 2 babies. Well, one's not a baby. He's 6, but still 2 babies, 2 dogs, and I work for my family business and basically try to survive every day with 2 kids at home. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's a whole challenge in itself, isn't it? All right, so what we've kind of been talking about, if you follow Deployed Love this month, we've been talking about goals and like setting goals and fun things like that. But one that we wanted to bring up that's a little different than like your typical resolution or your annual goals that you would do is a goal thing that I was set by friends a few years ago. It's called 100 before 100. So what you're going to do, or what you would do, and we're going to challenge you guys to do this and join us in our Facebook group to talk about it, but is you're going to sit down and any amount of time, but sit down and try to do it all at once because it's really good exercise for your brain. But you're going to write down like the 100 top bucket list items that you would love to do before you turn 100. So I had kind of shared with the girls my list, and it comes from silly things from like do a cartwheel because I've never done one. That's something that like I can't do, and it'd be super cool to be able to do before I turn 100. Or cool things like travel, which is most of my bucket list, obviously. So I know that a couple of the girls had kind of sat down and put down there. So what do you guys got?
So funny thing is have a podcast. So that was always been on one of my lists. And so that's super exciting that we get to actually bring this to Deployed Love. Some of mine that I haven't done yet, I want to do a pinup photo shoot. I think that would be really cool, especially to kind of showcase that military side. Because I mean, I also grew up military too. So I think it would be really cool to do a military inspired pinup photo shoot. I would love to see Dolly Parton in concert. That's probably like top 10 for me. And I just watched the documentary that she has. I think it's on Netflix. So cute. So cute. She's so cute.
It is very cute.
I guess I had a lot of travel too. So on my list, like I've already done a lot of traveling, but I have a lot more on my list. There's a lot stateside that I haven't seen, so I really would like to do a little more traveling around the states.
A lot of mine is traveling too. I was starting to rack my brain and I'm like, this is all travel.
Yeah.
Happy to do it, but
yeah, it's a good goal. It's really fun to go see things. And I mean, even like cruises or things more specifically to places. Like I want to see Niagara Falls. I don't care whether it's on Canada or New York side, but I want to see that. Like there's so many cool things.
Madison, my daughter, she is 11 now, but when she graduates, one of the things that me and her have been talking about for probably about 2 years now is going to the Eiffel Tower when she graduates and sitting there and just taking in everything together, just the two of us. So,
And that sounds so fun.
yeah.
Like I have that on my list to do like a family vacation with my kids, like separately. Like I want to do one with my mom and me, like just her, do something super fun. But then I also want to do that with my kids, like on their own time. Like I think that's such a bonding experience.
Yeah, I love
Yes.
that. Me and my mom had a cruise scheduled for 2020 where we were going to do all the way up the East Coast and go into Canada. Obviously, that who knows when that'll ever happen, but we were really excited. It was going to be such a time for just us. Like, it would be so cool, but we'll see. So, Kim, what is other things on your list? Do you have any like just little silly things that you want to do?
So one of the things that, and it's another travel, but another one of the things that I wanted to do was go to Italy and do the grape smashing, where you get in there with your bare feet and smash. I thought that would be really neat. Another one is just kind of, I want to raise goats. So we've got the land. We just got to get everything kind of in order now. The retirement property, as I say. One that I did this year was finish my bachelor's degree. So I was really excited with that. And then the Disney marathon, that's been one of the things that I've always wanted to do, that I've kind of built up. And I did a couple 5Ks and thought I was going to do a half marathon, and then that didn't happen. So now I got to build back up to that. But
What's the Disney marathon?
It's where you go to Disney World and you run. It's a whole marathon around Disney World. You dress up and
oh
it is,
my.
yeah.
I have that on my list too. I don't have the marathon because I realistically don't think my knee has it in it, but I do have doing at least one of the 5-10Ks, maybe something slightly more, but like it's on my list to do as well. So maybe we can do that as like a deployed love thing.
Yes, definitely.
I am not a runner. Let me just tell y'all now. I don't have it in my knees to be doing all that either. So
I'll walk with you. If you want to walk, we can walk a 10K.
Yeah, the deployed love shuffle, if you will.
It's a love-hate relationship. 1 minute you hate it, but the next when you get it done, you're like, yes. But then you just don't want to do it again and again.
Yeah. So. I used to love running, and then I've had surgeries, so I don't run that much anymore. So now it's more of a chore. It's not enjoyable, so I don't do it a lot. So it's on my list to eventually one day to hopefully do it, but yeah.
I think that mine may change though as I get older, because my children are getting older. So Caden he'll be 14 this year. And so I think that as I was making up a few, that they may change or grow into more detailed things to do with them as they get older and watch their life unfold and move from the military life that we've done for almost 18 years now to the after military life and watch our babies grow up. And that's what I'm excited for. So I think I'm kind of leaving a few of mine blank to fill in as the years go.
Yeah, and I had some, like I mentioned to you guys, that they were there before, and it's like I used to be super, super into photography. So there were some goals that were like highly there for the photography side of me, but now that it's kind of fizzled, they're not something that I ever really care to do because it's not there anymore. So like I wanted to do milk bath photos of somebody, and it just now it's like, oh, well, that's irrelevant at this point. So it's good. It's good to change it. It might even be something fun that every 5 years you change your 100 bucket list. Because I mean, like Sierra's talking, hers is from middle school, so I'm sure when she finds it that it's gonna be crazy. Some of the things on there.
I wonder if it's still somewhere, with moving and whatnot. I have no idea, but I don't even know what to think about it at this point. I couldn't imagine what's on there.
No, I can't imagine what I would thought of middle school.
I think it's fair to take an inventory every couple of years, right? Like maybe even every year. Like this year, writing my 2021 goals, they're very, very specific to this year and kind of where I'm at. If you asked me last year, at the new year, if I'd have the same list, absolutely not, because it was different then. So even like every year, every 3 years, every 5 years, every 10 years, right? I think it's fair to take an inventory.
Yeah, things have changed so much. I mean,
Completely
we all
agree.
saw that in the last year. Like, I had huge goals for last year, and now some of my goals for the year are like read 50 books because I have a lot more time at home to read. So it changes a lot. So what's like where's the coolest place that you want to travel that you guys have on your thing? Mine is I want to go to Norway and stay in like those little ice cabin things under the lights, and that is like that would be the dream vacation for sure.
Mine is Cuba. And I was just recently talking to my brother-in-law and his wife about this, and they're like, no way. Literally before Corona hit, we were about to book it. And I was like, no way, take me with you. Like, I'm crashing the party and going. There's no way my husband can go, right? But I so want to go.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the things too that we do. My family seems to always take vacations, and my husband can never get leave to go. No.
Oh, mine's Greece. I've always wanted to go to Greece. I've always had a really fascination with like Greek mythology and everything like that. So I've always wanted to go to Greece. So that's on the top of my bucket list to go is Greece. But I'd also really like to go to like Scotland.
Yeah, we're going there in 2022. So my niece and nephew were born deaf, but it turns out they have a different like disease thing that they have going on that obviously it's genetic and whatever, but they're going to also lose their vision. So my sister is planning these really cool trips of letting them pick places that they want to see in the next few years before they're not able to see. And so we're all going to Scotland in 2022. So I thought that would be really
Oh,
cool.
I love that. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
So I have a crazy question. Money, time, any of the rules and stipulations aside, we get to book a trip for ourselves to leave, tomorrow. No stress, money aside, where are you going?
Greece.
And say, is it by myself or like do I have to bring the kids?
Oh, I guess that would change it. That would
Choose
change
your
my
own
answer.
adventure.
Okay, if it's by myself, Greece. If I have to take my kids, it would probably be like an all-exclusive Disney World trip.
Same.
Like
I
a
would have
week
to say the
long,
same
like you
thing.
can do whatever you want, go for it, which we're hoping to do not this upcoming year, next year, just because like the family business is doing really, really well. So we're planning on going when Claire is 4. So she'll turn 4, not this May, but next May. So we're going to go that fall.
Awesome.
That's kind of what we're
Hopefully.
waiting on. That's kind of what we're waiting on too, is Mason. He's 2. We're waiting on him to get 4 or 5. And
A
just
better
do a
age
whole
so they
week.
remember it, because we took Darren when he was like 3 and he doesn't even remember going. So for
Yeah.
me, I would say if I'm by myself, it would probably be Tokyo. Like I really want to go to Japan, and I feel like that'd be a really hard place to take your kids because the language barrier and traveling around and stuff, it's a lot more like compact. So that would be for me. And then with the kids, I want to take them to Germany now that they're old enough to see where they were born and to see, where they started their life. I think that would be a really, really cool trip with the kids.
Yeah, it would. I would love to go to Germany.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
So
I've never heard anything bad about Germany.
Travis was stationed over there for a year when all the coronavirus started, and was supposed to go for our 14-year anniversary.
I remember that.
And everything got shut down, and it broke my heart. I was so excited. So excited.
Such a bummer. It is so fun. And if I ever went back, we would aim for Christmas time though, because my heart is in those Christmas markets.
There's just so much to do, no matter what time of year, honestly. There's just always something to do. There's, if you're into sightseeing, there's so many places you could go see. If you're into, actual history, like my all-time favorite place to visit was Italy, going to like Normandy Beach and all that kind of stuff. So like that was, I lived over there when I was middle school, high school. So even then, like I just thought it was fascinating. I could not recommend going overseas more to anyone. Like I would go in a heartbeat.
The history is so funny. So we went to, what is the Williamsburg with my mom, and I was like, they're giving the tour and talking about the buildings. I'm like, yeah, but these are really not that old. She's like, oh, look at you. I was like, yeah, but once you've lived in Europe and you like see these buildings that are like ancient, I mean, literally ancient buildings, you're like, okay, but Williamsburg, these houses look like houses we live in right now. So like, it's not that much has changed. Yeah.
One of the funnest places that we went was I went and visited Travis when he was stationed in Honduras. And we went over there and I got to make my own hammock. I literally threaded a double hammock for hours and hours for a whole week. But we also got to go and we did a chapel hike up to one of the villages and give food out. That was amazing. There's a lot of places over there to go and visit too.
That's so cool. That's so different from where we've ever like stayed. Yeah.
It was definitely a culture shock.
The real question is, do you still have the hammock? Because I would love that. That's so cool.
I do. We actually had our name carved out of the board from one of the people over there. And we still have it out in the shed, but you can't leave it out in the weather because the wood gets messed up. So unfortunately, it's like a special occasion hammock day.
Sierra, did you say where your travels would be?
I didn't. I was about to bring that up. So y'all would all go to kind of newer places, depending kids or not, right? So if I were able to leave tomorrow, I'd go back to Costa Rica. I went in a couple years ago, but there's just something about it. Anybody that's been to Costa Rica will tell you about that. Like, there's just something about Costa Rica, but I would love to, I don't know, I'm not old enough for a sabbatical yet, but I'd love to just take a year off from life and just go. There's this resort there, and anytime I try to tell people about it, I tell them it's like tree houses on stilts that you like walk out of. So you can walk for 10 minutes getting to your room and you're just in the middle of the rainforest. And at any moment, you know, there could be a howler monkey outside. There's hammocks on all the corners of the rooms. There's no AC, but it's actually not that bad. But probably one of the coolest things that happened while I was there is we were there at the beginning of rainy season. So they hadn't gotten a whole lot of rain yet. Yes, it does rain every day in the rainforest. And it is exceptionally loud. So loud, it rattles the windows. It like rattles the inside of your brain. It is just crazy. And there's just something about it that is the coolest thing ever.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
Yeah. That's something. Yeah, now I need to add that to my list.
I have sleep in a tree house. Yeah, I have sleep in a tree house on my list, so I'm just gonna go to Costa Rica to sleep in a tree house.
Way better than here.
Yup, 2 things in one go. Costa Rica is amazing and really.
I also have visit
nice.
one country on every continent, so that's like 3.
I'm gonna add that to my list right now. I've only been to South America, Central and South America, and Mexico.
I've been to Europe, in North America, and Central America, which so I got South America and Africa that I get to go.
You guys
in
make
Australia.
me feel
In Asia.
In Asia.
What do you like most of them?
I was like, yeah, I could probably do Asia because my dad has decided that in his midlife crisis, he went overseas last year before COVID hit, and he's a photographer now, but he does journalism photography now. So, and he's prior service, and he went over and did Normandy and Vietnam anniversaries, and fell in love with Asia, and has decided that he's probably going to live in Thailand. So, I at least now have a place to stay if I want to go.
Yeah, Thailand would be so cool, at least to visit. I want to go, like, because my friends went and they got to like pet the elephants and stuff. Like, yes.
It's really hard to get back in right now. So obviously, like, that's like a post-COVID restriction. Like, it took him almost 9 months just to get back over there. So he's like, yeah, don't expect me to come back anytime soon with COVID restrictions.
I honestly haven't traveled much. I've gone to Honduras, and that was really kind of the only place out of the country that I've been. Until I met my husband, I had never even left the Georgia, Alabama, Florida lines. So he took me to Delaware for the first time, and I thought I was going to die from the snow.
I mean, but that's what I love about the Army or in military life in general. Like, it brings you to so many opportunities that you may never have in your entire life. I mean, I've been whale watching in Alaska. I've lived over in Europe for 5 years. I've been to several different countries. And I would have never done that ever if I wasn't a military spouse or if I didn't grow up military. So you really do have to seize the day and just take it. You know, sometimes it's really sucky situations, yes, deployments, training schedules, things like that, but the opportunities that you get as a military spouse are 1 in a million. And you have to kind of look at the silver lining and think, okay, like, how can I make the best of this? Like, I'm not going to sit in the house. Like Alaska, like a lot of people go to Alaska and they're like, I hate it. I'm like, but did you go hiking? Did you see a moose in the wild? Did you go see whales on, you know, did you go whale watching? Like, no, then you've missed out on so many opportunities.
Yeah. I was gonna say the
really
only
had
reason
to take
that
advantage.
the only reason I've traveled is because of the Army stationing us, because we went to Hawaii, but would I have ever likely made it there? Probably not. And Germany, I never would have thought to travel all those other countries that we touched because we were there, and it took 3 hours to drive to Prague, which, by the way, Prague is my absolute favorite city I've ever been to.
Prague is amazing. I love it.
But I never would have had that opportunity. So I love that about that. And like you were saying, it really, even like here at Bragg, you hear so much bad about Bragg. But if you go and you go to the beach and you go to the mountains and you go to the states that are touching us, it's great. You just have to.
You're
make
in
the best
such
of
a
it.
great location for Bragg. Like, you're short distance from DC. Like, DC's on my list. Like, I've never personally been to DC. Everybody else in my family seems to have gone, but me. And I'm a history buff, so I'm kind of like, how is this even like happen? Like, how have I not gone to all the museums and things like that? So that's on my, like, that's my top like stateside bucket list. But like, yeah, your Bragg is what, an hour, 40 minutes from the beach, 3 to 4 hours to certain areas in the mountain. There's so much to do around here. It's so close. Like, even going down to like Savannah or Charleston or anything like that, it's a really short drive.
Yeah, you really have to make the best of your experiences, because if you don't, then you'll just lose your time, you know?
People say the same thing about Carson, and I literally wake up every morning, see the mountain, and I'm like, yep, this is life. I'm gonna miss it. Trust me.
Life is good.
This Texan is not gonna miss the snow. Let me tell you that. But
I have a friend in Carson, and she posts amazing photos, but then she posted pictures where you guys had the hailstorm with like,
oh my God, Carson's the worst for hell.
I was like,
it blows my mind. I had no idea that there could be such varying, like, it's like a little bit of snow or a whole lot of hail. It knocked out windows, y'all. On 4th of July.
Her van was
on 4th of July. Dang.
Yeah. We moved here on July 3rd of 2018, and literally the next day we're sitting in our new house, nothing in place, of course. We're like sitting on lawn chairs or something, and we're like, what is that? And it was hail.
Oh my gosh.
One of the most devastating hailstorms that's ever hit Colorado Springs. It was so bizarre.
It's like when I moved to Alaska, the next day it snowed like 5 inches in May, and I was like, what are we doing? I should be at the beach right now.
Yeah, I would be stuck if I was in Alaska. Like, I hate the snow. I was born in Colorado, so you'd think I'd like it, but no. And especially living in the South now, since we got back from Germany, it's been like 5 years, and no, not my thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a South person myself. We just moved back to Benning, and I'm hoping we can ride the next 3 years, 2.5, 3 years out here. So hopefully smooth.
I like watching it snow. Like, that's beautiful. Like, when I'm inside and I'm cozy, great. The second I have to go to the store or the kids want to go sledding, it's like, oh no, I'm good.
So my husband's from West Virginia, but grew up in Delaware, so he's used to the snow. And when we moved to Clarksville, it snowed there not a whole bunch, but a good bit, enough to go out and enjoy it. And he would take the kids out sledding and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I would literally stay in the house. I was so scared to go out on the roads and crash.
I like driving in the snow.
Do you? Oh, that was like always my excuse to not go to work when I lived in Colorado. I'm like, oh no, it snowed. I'm not doing that. So
yeah, I mean, people think Texans are the worst drivers ever anyways, but I'm like, whatever. I'm not the one sliding into curbs.
True.
So
people rely too much on their 4-wheel drive, and then they think that
you can't drive like it's Mario Kart, like I promise.
No.
Yeah.
But funny enough, as much as I hate snow, one of the things on my bucket list is to learn how to snowboard. So I'm going to have to get over that at some point. Pretty soon, because I'm going to age out of the ability to snowboard pretty soon.
I'll tell you, I went to a snowboarding lesson in Keystone, and those people know what they're talking about. Although I am not very talented, they really tried. So get one of those instructors. They're great.
My co-coordinator here at Benning used to teach snowboarding.
What?
So that was pretty fun. Never would have guessed that.
Mm-mm.
I hated snowboarding. I'm just gonna stick to skiing. I fall too much. I don't know if it's just having one board stuck to my feet. I tried to give it a go. I took classes in college when I was at that app, and I'm just kind of like, nope. I like my 2 skis. I know how to do it.
That's too funny. Both my uncles and their wives are so good at snowboarding. They do it every year, and I'm like, okay, if they can do this, surely I can learn. But I don't know. I used to skateboard, so I feel like similar concept, maybe, except for down a hill, which so we'll see.
I don't know if I've ever told y'all, but I don't know how to ride a bike.
Huh.
So the concept of wheels or on something moving my body other than my 2 feet really doesn't settle well with me. So I think that's part of my my difficulty.
Yeah. See, with me with skiing, I was always afraid of them crossing and getting stuck and rolling down.
Like Sabrina, how'd you break your leg? Yeah. Well, you see what had happened was.
Yeah, that I hated skiing. I think also because my uncles, so the ones I was talking about, they're only 15 years older than me. So they took me skiing when I was a kid and left me at the lessons, which is normal, but they didn't tell me that. And they're like, we'll be back in a few minutes, and never came back. So I was just there by myself all day at the lessons. So I was kind of like, I don't want to do this. I'm not enjoying this.
Well, it sounds like uncles to me.
Yeah.
Kim,
you started to say something.
I was just going to say, put me in a tube and in some water and just let me float. Give me the sun, a tube. I'll be happy.
Yeah. The beach
Have y'all?
Yes.
Have y'all seen the water park in Texas called Slitterbahn?
Yeah, I've heard of it at least. Yeah.
Have y'all been? No.
Mm-mm.
Y'all have to go. Put it on your bucket list. It's in New Braunfels, Texas, and it is the coolest water park ever. It's family owned and originated, but I went to college right outside of New Braunfels, and my advisor, who's become a good friend, post grad, she has lived in New Braunfels her entire life and knows the family and all that. But that water park is the coolest. There's so many tube rides with dips and turns and waterfalls and stuff. It is so cool.
My kids are old enough they'd like it now. When we lived in Texas, they were 4 and 1, so it was just no, I'm not taking a 1-year-old to the water park. But
people strap their babies into those ones with the netting under the tube. I don't have kids, so I don't know, but
knowing Darren now, he would love that. We went to a water park resort in November with my mom, and there was a slide that goes straight down and shoots you out. My daughter was scared. He went on it just round and round and round. He was just loved it. So
no,
we love water parks. We actually go to the one in Orlando, Wet and Wild. It was called Wet and Wild probably about 10 years ago. They changed the name of it now, but it's huge, and we love it. We go every time. We've probably been to Wet and Wild in Orlando 10 times the times we've been to Disney World. So we go to Orlando, and that's the first place we
probably
go.
Probably a little bit cheaper too. Disney World gets you.
Well, it's nice too to have family down there because Florida residents get a different rate for tickets and stuff. So
we were planning on going to the really cool water park in Virginia by Virginia Beach. But then COVID. My kids were so excited for it this last summer. They're like, "That'll be so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's reasonably priced, close enough, and maybe soon."
Yeah. Hopefully everything will start opening back up.
No, all the fun things. Like I'm so ready to travel, but and one of the things on my list is the ball drop in New York City. And I was watching it this year. I'm like, how weird. They were like in little cages to watch the ball drop.
Clearly, we all
Yes.
have the travel bug.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been in our houses a couple days too long. We're like, please, anything. I was going to ask, have you been to Boston, Ashley?
I've not been to Boston. I've been to Chicago. My one of my uncles lives in Chicago, so I've done short trips to Chicago, but I've never been to Boston.
Yeah, I have like nothing on the east, like northeast coast that I've been to. I'd love to.
Like I've driven through DC. I've been to New York. That's where me and Jimmy got engaged, was in New York City. We took a trip right before he deployed, his second deployment. And we took a trip up. He had a buddy that he went to basic with that lived there. So we went up to New York, stayed with them, and he proposed in New York, but like I want to go back to New York because like I didn't do the New York trip that I wanted. Like I didn't go do a Broadway. I didn't go to the New York Zoo or anything like that. Like we walked around Times Square. The most exciting thing from that trip, other than getting engaged, was my husband, picking a 4-star restaurant to eat at. Of course, a 4-star restaurant in New York is going to give you like 2 ounces of meat. So, he was starving by the end of the night. So the funniest thing he had was he went to go down to the square, because we stayed at the square, a hotel off the square. And he went down to go get McDonald's, and he was gone for like 2 hours. Like, I kid you not, like I was about to call their front desk, and he comes back in like super like frazzled. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I got my chicken nuggies, and I was like, I need a drink. So he like went and was like, oh, there's a little guy selling Powerades, and I was go get some of those. And I put the Powerades in the bag, and the bag broke. So I'm chasing chicken nuggies and Powerade through Times Square with this skinny guy dressed up as Batman flapping in my face. All I could do was just laugh. It was so funny.
Like, what is happening?
I don't know what was happening. So that was the most entertaining thing that happened on the trip. But like when I think of New York, I've always wanted to go. Like, I'm a huge Broadway person anyway. So I did theater in school. So I was just like, I want to go see a Broadway show, and I want to go see. We did do a boat tour, which was really cool. So we did get to see the Statue of Liberty from the boat. And we did go to Ground Zero, which this was after 9/11, of course. And right before they were just starting construction for the memorial site. So that was a cool trip in terms of that, but like that's really the only place I've been on the northern East Coast side.
Yeah. If we'd have been able to do our cruise, we would have we started in New York, we would have gone to Massachusetts and Maine, and then gotten up to Canada, which would have been so cool because we would have seen so many of the different states. But I don't know, we talked about if cruises are like not a thing again for a couple of years, so we might just drive it instead, which would be really cool too. So
there's so much on the way that you would see. Like I feel like you could make like short stops, like every 4 or 5 hours there's going to be something that you could go and see.
Yeah, and it's like outdoor stuff, so it should be pretty COVID friendly, so it'd be pretty cool either way.
That's one of the things my husband and I has talked about doing before, is taking our camper and just going across country, just stopping everywhere we can possibly stop and just see everything.
Yeah, we've learned
weeks.
so many cool locations recently. Since my kids are homeschooled, we've been learning the 50 states. And so obviously we're learning like really cool facts about all the states. There's so many places that I've never heard of. I'm like, wait, I want to go to that place. I'm like, make a list of all the things that I want to go see now. I'm like, that's so cool. I want to do that.
Yeah, I want to hit all the national parks.
One of the things that you should add to your list, Sabrina, that I think your kids would like, is there's an underground river. Oh man, I can't remember where it was. It's really cool though. It's like miles long, and you go underneath, and it's beautiful. I'll have to look it up and send it to you.
Yeah. Do they like kayak down it or what?
Now you just get on this boat and they just kind of take you through and down, and they talk about all the history of it and everything. And
Dang.
it's really
Yeah, I
awesome
wish that we
looking.
had a camper and that my husband wasn't deployed, but if we were learning the 50 states, that would be the coolest way to learn the 50 states is like legit drive through them and be like, oh, look, we're in Virginia today. This is what Virginia has. Look out the window. But maybe
Yeah.
someday.
We had to invest in a bigger camper just because of the separate. He's so close to retirement, and we wanted to buy this property for retirement. So I moved back here so our son could start middle school and high school and not have to move. So he's living in our camper down there. So when he retires, that's one of the things that we said about doing the summer is having the kids, since they'll be out of school, they'll be retired, just go in and travel. And so we upgraded to a bigger camper. But I miss the little camper because that's really all you need is the little one. You don't really need the big one because when you're out and about, you want to go and see the places, not spend time in there, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the bigger one, and unless you like sell your house and like that's your house, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you would need all that space. My friend did that for a while. And I'm like, I can't even imagine living entirely in it. Like a summer is one thing, but like forever.
I know a
Especially with
family of
kids.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So that's what we were gonna do when we couldn't find a property. He came back from his rotation and he was like, well, just come move back down here and we'll live out of the camper. I'm like, with 4 kids, are you crazy? He's like, yeah, you can homeschool and, you know, we can try. I'm like, no, thank you. I love you very
Never.
much, but
Especially with
not gonna
homeschool,
happen.
like then you're always with them. Like maybe if they were at public school all day, but like, whew.
Well, and it wouldn't be so bad if it, like Caden's going into high school next year, Madison's going into middle school, Lily's in elementary, and then I still have Mason. So it's just too much to try to homeschool for me anyway.
No,
There
it
are
would
some
be
parents
like,
out there that do it, and I'm like, kudos to you. You are a rock star. It is
yeah.
not
The
my
reason
cup
I
of
can
tea.
do ours is because I feel like they're close enough. So like kindergarten, 3rd grade, they still kind of understand the same things when it comes to like our unit studies. So like when we're talking about the states, that he gets the bird, he understands the flag, he gets the flower. So like he's getting something from it, and then she learns like the capitals and a little bit more to it. So it's something we could do both ways, but there's no way you could teach that to a high school student and a kindergartner. Like,
Yeah,
no,
way too much.
yeah.
What is a goal that you have on your list that you could potentially complete this year?
I have like 5. And perhaps it's because I'm literally working on my 100 things right now and like they're on my years list, but that counts, right? Like
Oh yeah, things crossed
it all
off.
counts. I mean, I'll tell y'all. I want a Girl Scout tattoo. I'm a lifetime Girl Scout and just feel like, you know, etch it into me. I don't have any tattoos, but it feels like time.
Do it!
Ashley, someday we'll get you into Girl Scouts too, but that
She's
one
got a couple years left. And then we'll be in the Girl Scouts.
Kindergarten,
right?
Kindergarten.
There you go. There you go. I also feel like I need to do the whole Savannah Girl Scouts thing. I feel like is a rite of passage, but I don't know many people that have done the whole Girl Scout history and everything in Savannah. Those two
Is
for
that-
sure.
Is that where Girl Scouts started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
see, I didn't even know that.
yeah.
That's cool. I never
Yeah.
got to do Girl Scouts when I was growing up because unfortunately, like I moved a lot as a kid, so I really
Right.
didn't partake anything. Like I did sports, but like I didn't partake anything like Scouts at all. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm not familiar with it at all.
Our troop here, or my entire service unit here, is really neat. So we're a Fort Carson service unit. So literally all of our girls have some sort of relation to a service member here on Carson, and it's kind of like we're on our own as a service unit because nobody else in the greater area really understands. Like we do things this way because girls, you know, will PCS with their families maybe this year, maybe in 3 years, maybe they just got here. You know, it's not lifelong troops. Like Kim, I know you're really familiar with a
I
lifelong troop. You know, you just got
yes.
lucky like that.
We did. I was even going to say a little tidbit of information. You actually have one of my girls that
I
I
know.
miss so
I
terribly much.
What a small world too, because
Yes.
it's not like I found deployed love through, you know,
No, we didn't know each
any
other.
other relation. There's no way. And it just so happened to come out like that. It's crazy what Girl Scouts, you know, will connect you with. But yeah. And I was going to tell you guys, you know, with Daughters and Girl Scouts, one of the reasons why I've traveled so much is because of Girl Scouts. So when I graduated from high school, I went on a destination. Do y'all know what those are? So Girl Scouts do programs for girls. I think once they hit high school ages, they can apply for these things called destinations. They used to be called greater opportunities. But destinations are trips that Girl Scouts apply for, and they get accepted, and then they get to go on trips, and they usually have some sort of curriculum with it. So my destination, I went to Peru, and we had a leadership curriculum. It was really awesome. So any Girl Scout that I pass, you know, tracks with, I try to tell them about that, because those are absolutely life-changing. So
awesome.
I know that we're here for Deploy Love, but one of the things that we're doing this summer is Girl Fest in West Virginia. We're going to go meet our old troop from Clarksville down or up there and go to that. So we're really excited about that.
So fun. So fun.
And
It's
I mean,
just
like,
another
you make
connection
lifelong friends. You make lifelong friends in the Scouts. Like my sister-in-law, her best friends are not from Girl Scouts, but she did do Girl Scouts for a little bit, but they were the siblings of my husband's troop for Boy Scouts. You know, my husband was an Eagle Scout, and so her two best friends growing up, and still to this day best friends, were from like just going to troop meetings and hanging out. Like their moms, like my mother-in-law, like the moms, like they call them goddesses. So every month they have a goddess weekend, and they get together in the mountains and just have a girly weekend and do some type of fun activity. Like last meeting they had, they made blankets. Like they crocheted blankets together.
I think it's like you said too, Sierra, you know, when you're whether you live on base or off base, sometimes living on base and you start building those connections. We were an off base troop, but all of our girls were military. I think once you start building those relationships with all the other military families, you know, you have connections with the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, which we had both. And then you have the military connection. It just kind of brings those families into your life as more than friends. You know, you really do get that concept of what do they call it? Families or
yeah.
So that was what happened to us in Clarksville. We had been lucky enough to be here at Benning for almost more than half of my husband's military career. And then we moved to Clarksville. It was my first time ever being away from my family. And at first, you know, the first year I sat there and I sat in my house and I did nothing. And I got sad and depressed. And Madison decided she wanted to do Girl Scouts. And I was like, well, it's good because Caden's in Boy Scouts. And from there, you know, my world kind of changed dramatically. And if it wasn't for that and those connections, I don't know where I would be today, you know, because those people mean so much in my life.
Right.
Yeah,
it's always about those connections. Yep, always. And there's just a certain understanding, especially when you're military and your peers are military. There's just an understanding. No matter what brought you together, there's just that understanding. So
yeah, our troop, I was gonna say, is also very military. We meet right outside of base, and I think it helps because when she was in public school, a lot of her friends were not military, and you know, the ones that were moving every 3 years, they didn't understand, like, outside of that, what Kira goes through, I guess. Like, she has to go through deployments where there's these 4, 6 months, whatever, that she doesn't have her dad home, which is a whole thing. Like, I mean, I get that there's divorces, but when you love them and that's the relationship of your parents too is not there, it's hard. And so when we have the Girl Scout meetings, it's really cool that all of them are military, at least in our troop, and they do that. They're used to the PCSing. Like her best friend from our troop is moving next week, and she understands that because she gets to understand that, oh, but that also means now another military girl is going to move into our troop because we have a space. And so yeah, she gets to have these friends that are now all over the country, just like we do with our military spouses. I have friends everywhere, but the Girl Scouts gives her that opportunity to have them starting young. So I love that.
Yeah, it's given her that opportunity of like, we go out of our comfort zones to try to meet, you know, military spouses, whether it's through a military organization like Deployed Love, or, you know, through, you know, the company's FRG. You know, some people are like, no, I don't want to be connected to anything with my husband's or my spouse's unit, like that's his job, blah blah blah. But like, we do have a very unique life. It's very unique compared to what other people go. Like what we go through daily isn't going to be understood by someone who has no connection to the military. You know, I've lived here on and off at Bragg my whole life, and I've had friends who were military and I had friends who were civilians, and none of them could understand what I would go through during, you know, deployments. Like my husband deployed, his first 2 deployments were back in 08 to 2010. And so like pretty height of a lot of stuff happening. So, you know, really rough deployments, and, you know, none of them really understood like how I was feeling about that. Like, you know, me saying, no, I don't want to go out, or me constantly wanting to be out of the house because I didn't want to be home by myself. So I feel like you have to find a connection. Find a network, whether it's through, you know, your kids' activities like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or, you know, joining a mom group if you're a mom group, you know, things like that. You just have to get yourself out there and find somebody who's going to connect with you on a personal level, not only through the military, but, you know, find people, you know, find your tribe, like find people who get you in every aspect of your life, because no matter what you think, the military is a very big part of you. And whether you want it or not, like, you know, if you marry into the military, you know that, you know, you're going to be moving potentially every 3 years. You're going to be dealing with long training events. Apparently we deal with rapid deployments multiple times in a year. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So you have to have that support system. Like, even if it's just one person you have a connection with the military, who can understand that when you have to go and vent, like they've got your back, like they do. So don't shy, like if you're listening and you're not a part of any organization, don't shy away from it. Like, you know, reach out, like, you know, reach out to somebody, like even if it's just one person, have that connection with one person that can understand.
Yeah, disassociating yourself, especially I think the ones that end up closer to family. Like if you live near your family and that's just like your life never changed. I mean, lucky that you got stationed there, but don't disassociate from the military. It's easy to not want to do the FRG stuff because, yeah, we all know there's drama involved with it. There can be. But like you have to find those people that get it. Like you were saying, like your parents and your sister, you know, they're not going to get it unless they have someone in the military. They don't get it entirely. Like, yeah, your husband's overseas. Oh, okay. You know, like I miss my husband too. He wasn't here for dinner. We've all heard that comment and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's not even relatable, but okay." So,
one of the things to also keep in mind is, you know, when you move to a new base and you're looking for those friends, you're not alone. There are other people, other spouses there. They're doing the same thing, trying to think of, well, how can I get out there and meet somebody? So you just gotta, I know with me, before I had children, the way I got out and met people was through volunteering. I was involved in the FRG and stuff, but I also did stuff like Operation Homefront and just other little organizations. Deployed Love here at Benning has built my tribe. So you just got to find that group or that connection that has like-minded people where you're going to feel like everything fits. You got to keep looking for it though, because you're not going to just find it.
Yeah,
the
you
first
gotta put
time you go
yourself
out.
out there. That's like the biggest thing is like people saying, I need friends, and then they don't go to things. So
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
takes two to
Right.
tango. And no matter what
Yeah.
relationship, like it takes two to tango, whether it's a romantic relationship or if it's just a friendship, like both parties
remember
put something in. I saw something funny, like, because you were saying like you have to go out and like work for it. So someone posted recently here at Bragg, a speed dating for friendship, and I thought that was
Yeah.
a fantastic idea.
I love that.
I was like, I'm totally down for it. Like I was like, they had one scheduled for last Friday and I had an appointment. So I was like, okay, I can't do that one, but the next one I'm in. Like I'm all in, because like I have a couple friends that I've met through like, you know, Jeremy's company. Because usually I make my friends, like a lot of my friends I've always made working outside the home, but I don't work outside the home anymore. I work from home. So, you know, I'm not getting out and making that connection with other adults. So I tend to not have a lot of like friendships right now in terms of like a plethora. Like I don't have like, you know, like, oh, these two people aren't available to do something today. Let me call so and so or so and so. It's really just a handful of people that I'm like, okay, cool. Like I've got my support system. I know they're there for no matter what happens. Like if I have an emergency, you know, I can be like, hey, I need you right now, and they're there. But you know, I'd like to have, you know, I would like find a friend that's outside my husband's unit as well. Like, you know, someone who's, you know, might have to tiptoe around what they say around me because my husband may be their senior officer or whatever it may be. And I don't want that to be a part of that friendship. I want to make sure that you have, I want a friend, you want to find a friendship that, you know, you can talk military things with, but you have no restrictions in that matter either. Like you can go and vent like about whatever you need to vent.
yeah, I love that about why we started Deployed Love. Like we're a community where, and you can even make friends through Deployed Love, like our group, and they may not even be near you, but you have someone that you can send to on Facebook, be like, hey, we connected really well in the group. Can I vent to you? And there's a face, and it's not somebody that does work with your husband, because that does become tricky. And I've had friendships
Yeah.
with through FRG, and then things you tell them and it goes right up the line, and you're like, oh, well, that was great. So I think having the ability to make friends in the military, but not associated to your unit, is always really good too.
Yeah. I was just thinking before Ashley brought that up that I was that person on Facebook that said on when I moved to Clarksville at Campbell, I just posted play date at my house, come play. And I literally had like 6 people show up that I had never met before, never knew. It was super awkward. They all had children the same age, but I was so desperate to meet people that I literally opened my house to 6 strangers to just come in. And I did build a friendship with like 2 or 3 of them, but it was, will never forget everybody just kind of standing there,
funny you
looking
say that.
around, like, what do you
Yeah.
do?
Kim, I was gonna say you don't meet your besties in your living room, but I guess you just proved me wrong. You know, they
yeah.
always say that. You know, I feel like another problem with, you know, military spouses is they'll be so forward and willing online, but it really comes down to meeting in person. Don't we know how communication goes, especially if you need to work towards something? But even working towards a friendship, you have to meet in person, right? COVID aside, we don't even need to talk about that. But it's like you need more than just a texting buddy or a messaging buddy. Like you need a partner to walk alongside you in friendship and hardships and everything that comes along with this life.
Yeah.
The amount of people I see who do that.
Yeah, I got really lucky at Campbell. It wasn't one of the people that was the random strangers that showed up to my house, but I met a person there that, you know, when we first met, we clashed hard. It was not very friendly at first, but as time growed and I got to know her more and know her, now she's my best friend. She is literally the person I dial to vent to every time. So even though you may not bond with that person right away, sometimes you got to overlook your own barriers and kind of get to know a person on a deeper level to even have those friendships. And that's hard too.
Well, also like I struggle with this for the longest time. You can have friends by yourself. Like you don't have to like, oh, will this person, will my husband like this person, or will my wife like this person? Like you can totally, I really struggle with that. Like I always felt like we needed to have like one group, a couple, or a couple friends that we were mutually friends with. And then we had our separate friends. And then like, as I got older, I was just like, I mean, I'm an extrovert. So I mean, I can get along with anyone as long as they're not like being a total person that lots of words you can insert there, but it took me a really long time, and I've noticed a lot of young spouses like I can only hang out with this person if this person is going to be tolerated by my husband, and you're totally fine. You can totally have a friend that your significant other might not like, which is completely fine.
Yeah, you're not the same person, right? Like,
yeah,
so you're attracted
exactly.
to
You have to have
people
your
that you
own
hang out with.
identity. Yeah. Sierra said that she was going to do
Girl Scout tattoo.
Scouts.
the Girl
Yeah.
Scout tattoo. Yeah. So Sabrina, what's something that you can do this year on your top list?
So I don't know if you guys know about me, but I've always been into yoga. And so one of the things that's on my list that I've never been able to do is a handstand. And so I've been doing yoga every day this year and really working on balancing yoga. So that is my main goal for the year, is to really see if I can do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm into yoga
awesome.
too, Sabrina. I don't know if you know that, but
Yeah.
I want to be in yoga.
Oh, I do it every night before bed. It makes such a difference in my life. So
I really need to do it because I have horrible flexibility. I'm the type of person who can't work out though when my kids are around. It stresses me out.
oh yeah.
So I can't do it when they're awake. And so usually by nighttime I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
usually catching up on work or whatever it may be. So I usually don't do it at night, but I really do need to carve that time out because I do enjoy doing the yoga.
Say I schedule mine
when
for
I've done
like the half hour right before bed, because most of mine also is really deep breathing, like all that stuff. So it also helps me to have nothing on my mind when I go to bed, so I actually fall asleep. So it just made it that time. It used to be in the mornings because I like doing like the sun salutations, but I've changed it to the night and I love it. I love that because the kids are in bed, because that is a super annoying thing, is when they come in and you're in the middle of lifting weights and they're like yelling in your face and you're like, get away. So yeah, it has to be for sure once my kids are not anywhere near me.
I have those same feelings about my dog.
Oh yeah,
I
my
have
dog
the
likes
same
to
feelings,
help.
like get her out, downstairs you go.
It's nothing like
Yeah.
doing a downward dog and your dog coming and licking your face. I've totally been there.
Yeah, like going completely underneath of you and you're like,
yeah, get out. My cat too, for that matter. They both really like the yoga mat. I'm like, y'all gotta go.
Yeah, the other day we were learning how to do fire breathing, so you like basically are like hyperventilating or whatever, and my dog had her nose against my face, like I thought I was dying. I was like, could you just get away from me? I can't breathe.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds like this is something we need to put on our list for Deployed Love Board Retreat 2021.
Oh yeah, a yoga class, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
On the beach in Savannah.
Right.
I'm
In Savannah,
totally
after the
down.
Girl Scout house.
Yes. I got a camper down there.
Look.
We can go. Ashley, mine would probably be, now that we've got some land here, is to get a couple of goats. I definitely want to get some baby goats. And then my other would be to master my grandmother's sweet potato biscuit recipe. She's getting older and I'm scared we lost my grandfather not long ago. So the thought of losing her just, is something I can't even fathom, but she makes the best homemade sweet potato biscuits and she never measures anything. So she can't give you a recipe. So I want to master them.
Kim, you
so
need to
bad.
videotape her making them.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up grandmas, because my husband's grandma recently passed away, and the first thing I went for when we got into her home was her recipes. and that lady had about 12 recipes for taco spaghetti. Don't ask me why, but there's some good ones in there. Those recipes, I mean, some of them were from the 60s.
Handed all the way down.
You know,
Yeah.
that's so crazy. Recipes, you know, are bloodlines.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've searched, I'm really bad about searching Pinterest for stuff, but I've searched Pinterest for like better measurements because I know what her ingredients are, but not like what her real measurements are. And there's not a single recipe that matches all of her stuff.
Yeah, and
So
baking's
it's so
very
hard.
like, if you don't get the right thing, it's not gonna turn out. Baking's scary.
And I can't master the skillet. That's one thing too, is the cast iron skillet. That's all she cooks with. And I just...
Has y'all's husband ever washed her cast iron skillet? Mine has twice.
My kids.
Yeah. Like, hello.
Just throw it in the sink, Mom. What?
Yeah. Oh my.
What about you, Ashley? So is there something that you can do this year?
My big one is we hope to buy our first house. So we're actually hoping that will be kind of, we're actually hoping to buy this house. The homeowners are planning to sell. So we're hoping that we can work it out to where we can purchase it. Because then we wouldn't have to pay to move.
Yeah, that would be like the best kind of purchase ever. Have them like repaint or something and just, well,
like,
buy it.
Fortunately, the paint's not bad. Like the big thing was replacing the roof, which is what, like I said earlier, they'll be redoing that this week. So, you know, we really like the location where we're at. And so we hope that's kind of the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that'd be like the best house buying situation ever. You just live there and you're just gonna stay living there. Like, amazing.
Like a silly one I kind of want to do is I want to go someplace and order one of everything on the menu. So I think that would just be like a fun outing. Like, obviously, like I'm not going to go to some place that like the dishes are like $30, $40, but I think it would be fun to go out and just like,
can we
add
that to our retreat? Yeah, add it to our retreat.
Order one of everything and just pass everything around.
Do yoga and just eat.
I just think that would be so fun. You know, it's something that's not ordinarily done. It's kind of it's not really spontaneous because you probably will plan it, but you know, you're going in going like, you know, I'm gonna get a steak. Like, I'm gonna get a steak and some pasta and some salmon and, you know, a cheesecake, whatever it may be. Like, I think it just would be like a super fun adventure to do.
Yeah, and like some small restaurant too, like something out of the blue, like really cool.
One of the things that Madison has been begging me to do for a while now, she's seen it on, I don't know, YouTube or TikTok or something, but you go behind the person and tell the person over the intercom that you want to order the exact same thing that they did. And then she wants to go to like 5 different places and do it all day long.
I would love to do that. That would be so much fun. I mean, you wouldn't be able to be a picky eater or anything to do that, but picky. Like, which I'm not. Like, I'll try anything one time. So I'm like, I'm all down for that challenge.
I'd do it at like Chick-fil-A or something. Like something I could definitely.
General.
Yeah.
Have you done it before, Sierra?
No, but shoot, let me go out and do it tomorrow. That sounds exciting.
I know.
That really sounds exciting. I might have to do that this week.
I know.
I thought about doing it with Starbucks.
Oh,
I've seen a lot at Starbucks and Dunkin'. Yeah. Okay, Starbucks wouldn't be bad either.
But what if you go through like and you're trying to feed your whole family and the person in front of you just got like a small fry and you're like,
I've seen it the other way.
That's what Madison wants. She wants to go and like just get one small fry so that she's laughing at all of us having to share one fry. I'm like, no.
I've seen one video because Devlin got on like a YouTube kick, and so they did it and they went around to like 5-6 different places. So like by the end of it, like everyone had something and it was just an experience. Like, you know, you might have just got a smoothie and you might be sharing a medium-sized fry, but like just like not knowing what's gonna happen or what you're gonna get, like the element of surprise, like that sounds so fun. Like I might have to do that with Devlin this week.
My kids would think that's the best.
See, my scary thing is if you get a big family like mine and you end up with 7 full-size meals, what are you gonna do? You just spent $60 at McDonald's.
Drive around town till you find homeless people and give them meals. You're like, well, I bought this, so.
And she has been begging me to do that, and we haven't done it, but yeah.
My kids have heard of it. Yeah, they've definitely mentioned it before, and I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm gonna end up with so much food. But it does sound really fun. Like, just why not? Why not?
Like,
And
this
that's
is a
something
fun
that you can
outing.
do with like everything with the, staying social distancing and stuff. Something fun you can do at the date day for your kids.
I was gonna say it would be such a fun date night. But my husband would like be such a like Debbie Downer about it because he's such a picky eater and he'd be like, this is stupid. Like when I was doing that.
Have you seen the 4-course meal challenge where you and whoever it is, your partner, your friend, whatever, rock, paper, scissors for drinks, appetizer, like the main meal, and then dessert? Have y'all seen that?
No. That sounds fun too though.
So like if I did it with whoever and I won, we would go to Sonic for drinks, and then they won appetizers, and then it would be like, fries from Chick-fil-A and so on and so forth. So cool, right? That's a good
date night.
Date night.
That is.
Or even
fun.
between, kids, like have them do rock, paper, scissors instead, and you just go along with it. I don't know.
I don't know. I have 4 kids. That would be a fight. No,
2 at a time. 1 and 1. Have them draw numbers. I don't know.
That does sound fun. I know I'm a huge picky eater. I will not go into how picky, but my husband would get so angry with me because we'd go to nice restaurants and I would only eat, chicken nuggets and french fries or, So one of the things that he did to kind of get me out of that was he bought me a box that comes with all these different foods from different countries. And so that's one of the fun things that we do once a month is me and the kids and him will sit down and we'll open this box and we'll all share the little things and we'll learn about the country and the food, and it's been really fun.
I was about to say you need to try new foods on your list of things.
Yes.
That was on my list, but then when we went on the last 2 cruises, I feel like I tried a lot of new things. Like we did the beef tongue, we did snails, we did frog legs. Like you got to try all the really weird things when you're on a cruise. So I got to check that one off my list because I think that's trying some of the most strange foods there are out there. Yeah. So
I've had alpaca. That's my most strange.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Travis had Rocky Mountain oysters when we were in Honduras.
Oh no, I know better than to do that.
I cannot. No. So when I got to Honduras,
here.
I got really sick because I wouldn't eat, and then I started like eating slowly some of the food. I got so sick. But by the end of, I found some stuff that I really liked, but I could not do what he ate. No.
No, yuck. From living in Colorado, that's like what they're known for. And no, thank you.
Sarah, you said you've had them before?
Yeah, here in Colorado, but my husband and I didn't go seek it out. When we had family here, they're like, oh, we're gonna have them. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Okay, guys. Like tourists across our foreheads, but whatever. It was fun.
All right. Well, I think we've had a really good time talking about this, and I hope that you guys, we're gonna add, when this goes live, we're going to join over to Deployed Love Hearts Connected on Facebook, and we're going to have a post and a conversation. I know I'm going to share my 100 bucket list in there so you guys can see it, and we'd love for you guys to all join in with us. I mean, I want to see some of your really cool goals. I'm sure that some people are more original than me, but I'm sure there's some really great ones out there, and maybe I'll find some that I want to add to mine, and I'm sure the girls will too. So if you guys have anything else to add, or we can go ahead and say bye.
No, I'll share mine too, but I might have to cross 2 out. It might not be appropriate to put on Facebook.
Just blur it. Yeah.
Just a general survey. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. And I know that we had a really good time talking about mostly the places we want to travel, but some other fun goals. So it was great hanging out with everybody. We will talk to you all in the next podcast.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.